on Equinoxe television.
Good evening to all of you faithful viewers of Equinoxe Television. It's time for the news. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Our major stories this evening: moral degradation of the youthful population in Cameroon seems to be taking a disturbing turn lately. The Minister of Women's Empowerment and the Promotion of the Family detects and bans a website for the commercialization of sex among young people. The said site is known as Jedolo. Our reporters went finding out some disastrous consequences of online sex commercialization, even with minors. We will be telling you more in this news edition. Plus, land issues remain a major preoccupation to those who recently bought pieces of land or built houses here in the economic capital, Douala. Over 30 families are now crying in the rain after their houses were demolished in the Bamba. Viewers, those are our lead stories. Details and more when we come back. Welcome back, viewers. Thank you so much for the confidence. A wave of panic and outrage has swept through the Bamba neighborhood in the Douala 3 subdivision following the demolition of several homes in that area lately, leaving about 30 families stranded, crying in the rain. Victims are therefore calling on the local authorities to intervene in order to restore peace and also order in the Bamba. Our reporter Mala Glory spoke with some victims and compiled their reactions and complaints in the report which comes up next.
That once served as homes to these residents of the Bamba precisely before the main bridge in the Douala 3 have been demolished, allegedly without prior notice. Victims say they returned to find their houses completely destroyed with personal belongings exposed to the elements.
They just start scattering everywhere. So we asked them to present their book, who sent them or how money.
According to multiple eyewitnesses, the demolition was executed by a group of unidentified individuals who wore masks, making it impossible to recognize them. In response, the affected locals staged a peaceful protest within the neighborhood, holding placards calling on the accused to restore their lands. They also revealed that the matter is in court.
On ne sait pas si dans ce pays nous sommes encore dans un état de droit.
One protester said the situation raises serious questions about human rights in the country, thus calling on the people of Cameroon to take their destiny into their own hands, especially with the upcoming presidential elections.
Nous sommes à la veille des élections.
On interpelle vraiment le préfet du Vouri de nous aider parce qu'il n'y a que lui.
The victims are now pleading with the senior divisional officer of Vouri to intervene urgently and help restore peace and order in the Bamba. They insist that without swift administrative action, tensions in the area could escalate.
We don't even know where to go. We cannot run war from there. And then we'll come here to manage to build a bit of house, and then they should come and scatter us.
As the matter continues to unfold, the people of the Bamba awaits justice and clarity over the motives and legality behind the demolitions.
And now over to one of our lead stories. Moral degradation, we told you, of the youthful population in Cameroon seems to be taking a disturbing turn. It is now a serious cause for concern. The Minister of Women's Empowerment and the Promotion of the Family lately detects and bans a website for the commercialization of sex among young people. The said site is known as Jedolo. Our reporter Cedric Chakuto went out finding some of the disastrous consequences of online sex commercialization, even involving minors.
The Minister for the Promotion of Women and the Family raised concern on June 4, 2025 about the existence of a website known as Jedolo. a platform involved in sexual exploitation of teenagers. To some, the banning of the platform instead brought some publicity to the website, as many had to visit out of curiosity.
I've heard of it already. Gender platform, I heard about it before. It's just like another matching, chatting or matching platform like many other ones that you see on Internet.
Nous précisément, on allait souvent dans ces sites pour regarder si on ne connaît pas. On a retrouvé beaucoup de nos personnes qui faisaient dans la pornographie, qui faisaient dans la prostitution en ligne.
But what is Jeux? We asked the question to an expert who says
Jeux
is a platform that exists since 2 years now, but communication amplified around the platform by some set of people who goes on the site and asks for girls.
Et tout. Si vous vous rappelez bien avant, quand les parents voulaient draguer les petites filles,
they no more go to Bonanjo or other places. Thanks to the platform Jeux, they can easily get a girl they find nice or affordable for them.
19 ans, de 20 ans, ou bien même mineurs de fois, mais ils ne peuvent pas savoir.
Faced with this worrying situation, the minister is issuing an urgent appeal to parents, urging them to strengthen communication with their children and exercise increased vigilance. She emphasizes the crucial role of families in preventing risky behaviors among young people.
And now we talk politics. The Cameroon's National Assembly Speaker, Kavayege Jibril, has called on eligible citizens to register and vote in upcoming presidential election in the country. In his opening statement for the June parliamentary session that runs on June 10, Honorable Kavayege Jibril emphasized the importance of voter registration, stating that the election's credibility depends on the number of voters. For me, Armstrong Sander has more.
The call from Cameroon's National Assembly Speaker raises prospects that enrollment on the electoral register can be closed any moment from now, and the Electoral College convened. In his opening statement for the June parliamentary session on June the 10th, 2025, Honorable Kavayege Jibril called on eligible citizens to register to vote in the upcoming presidential election. Kavayege Jibril emphasized the importance of voter registration, stating that the election's credibility depends on the number of voters. He urged citizens to seize the opportunity to obtain national identity cards, praising President Paul Biya for easing the acquisition process. According to Article 86 of the Electoral Code, the electoral calendar will officially begin with the convocation of the electorate by July 12, 2025, marking the start of the 90-day period leading up to the election. The election is expected to take place on October 12, 2025, preceding the end of the current presidential term on November 6, 2025. The convocation will also open the nomination period, which must be completed by July 22, 2025, with the final list of candidates to be published by August 11, 2025. The House Speaker also reiterated that the presidential election should strengthen unity among Cameroonians and demonstrate the country's maturity. He called on stakeholders to exercise restraint, responsibility and patriotism, ensuring a calm and peaceful election that showcases Cameroon's ability to organize major events and confirm its democratic foundation.
And as Cameroon gears up for this important election come October, Barrister Christian Timban launches a grassroots campaign in Douala and Yaoundé to galvanize or mobilize voter support. His aim is to get at least 5 million registered voters in both cities before October. Immaculate Fogwe tells us more about his initiative.
A citizens' campaign is underway in Douala and Yaoundé, the country's two major cities, in anticipation of the summoning of electorates. Led by Barrister Christian Timban, a declared presidential candidate, the stated objective is to mobilize 5 million registered voters in Douala and Yaoundé to significantly influence the election.
It's possible to register 5 million people before the electoral roll is convened. We urge all Cameroonian citizens who believe in the importance of free and transparent elections to participate in the voter registration process.
According to Tiban, a strong voter turnout in Douala and Yaoundé could be a strategic lever for change. This highlights the importance of active participation in the electoral process, particularly in urban areas where voters may have more freedom to make their voices heard.
There is a notable difference in voter registration numbers between cities like Yaoundé and Douala, where voting processes can be closely monitored, and other parts of the country. In major cities like Kigali, Kinshasa and Abidjan, voter registration numbers tend to be higher compared to the rest of the country. However, in Yaoundé, registration numbers are relatively low. We don't have special resources to deploy for massive registration drives. So, we're launching a civic appeal and counting on the media to help us reach out to the Cameroonian people. In Yaoundé and Douala, we can ensure the votes are supervised.
Ce qui n'est pas souvent le cas dans certaines régions du pays. Quand on voit...
He emphasizes the importance of voter registration given the potential for administrative and traditional influences in rural areas, and notes that the President of the Republic is expected to summon the electorate in the coming weeks, which will put an end to the registration of voters by the elections organizing body Electoral.
And now over to the Far North region. The senior divisional officer of the Mayo-Tanaga division has asked the 14 regional councillors he dragged to court to write an apology to him. Jean Bosco Dang of whom dragged the 14 regional councillors to court on grounds of defamation. The regional councillors earlier on wrote a letter to the presidency allegedly accusing the administrator of selling out lands in his area of jurisdiction. Smart Jikan Gabriel tells us what has been happening in the Mayo-Tanaga division.
At the court premises in Mokolo, 14 councillors of the Marwa Regional Council who were summoned for defaming the name of the senior divisional officer of Mayo-Tanaga, Jean Bosco Avom Dang. The councillors were accused of, we made a complaint to the President of the Republic about land problems in Mokolo. We have to protect the little lands that we have here. To our greater surprise, all of the lands have been shared out. Reasons we wrote to the President of the Republic, and for me, I didn't see any defamatory message. Unfortunately, the senior divisional officer, who was unavoidably absent during this first hearing, believes the said complaint about selling of land has stained his reputation. We actually fought to secure lands meant for public use. Documents are here to prove it. We fought and secured the land for the Ministry of Tourism too. They said things that they can't provide proofs. When you talk about an authority without any proof, is defamatory. The complaint from the councillors came after their request of getting pieces of land from the authorities failed, but they saw lands being sold out. Many schools today haven't been constructed because of limited space. We met with the former SDO who asked us to write an appeal letter, but it ended up without us having anything. Meanwhile, several pieces of land belonging to schools here have been given out. The senior divisional officer says he will forgive the 14 regional councillors on one condition. If they recognize their error and ask for pardon, I will overlook it. But without that, I will see to it that it comes to an end, because I can't allow my name to be dragged in mud. For several years, I have been fighting against corruption, and today, my name is being dragged to the mud. I'm badly hurt. Amongst the 14 who were served a summon was the first-class chief of Matakam South, Mokolo, and Vice President of the Regional Assembly for the Far North region and Chief of Boha Clan.
Let's now talk about the cycling race which was to take place in the economic capital, Douala, today. Road users, so many of them were blocked on the spot for several hours for a race which was finally cancelled. Our reporter Innocent Atenal tells us about some negative economic consequences of the race which was to take place in Douala today but was finally taken forward to tomorrow.
Activities were adversely impacted on Wednesday between 8 a.m. and 2 p.m. in the city of Douala, particularly in Besenge, Aqua, Rompoint Daido, and Valetra Boutique as a result of the cycling tour. Mbevo Belton, a businessman in Aqua, complains he was not able to receive a customer because roads were blocked for the cycling tour to take place. As a result,
limiting arrival of customers. He is unhappy with the way authorities in the city do things, with limited or no information on such an event at the detriment of the population.
Ça donne vraiment de l'insomnie chez les vendeurs comme nous. Ça ne va pas.
Chutat Bibi advances similar disappointment. No customer to sell to, nothing was moving.
Franchement, ils exagèrent.
Apart from these shop owners, even taxi drivers caught in traffic jam were bitter and frustrated.
On est là pratiquement depuis plus de 2 heures de temps. C'est l'économie qui souffre. Avec les passagers qui souffrent, vous voyez, ils sont même en train de descendre.
This cargo driver as well.
This traffic is making everything to go very slow. I don't have fuel. The fuel is finished. My car is empty. I don't know if I reach Bonaberi.
And the driver of an inter-urban transport bus. He had gone round to the city of Douala looking for a swift way to travel to Yaoundé, yet to no avail. The traffic jam had no mercy on him and his passengers, who were suffocating of heat in the bus.
Dans le véhicule, tout est bloqué partout, il n'y a pas moyen. Les enfants sont nus, parce que la chaleur. C'est tellement chaud, ça ne va pas, mais on espère.
Most Douala city dwellers or commuters had to trek from their homes to their job sites or offices in Akwa, Bonanjo, Bonaprizo, and other places. Even patients like this man had to trek to the hospital for consultation.
Je suis malade, je suis en train de marcher comme ça, ça peut causer autre chose dans ma vie, donc c'est pas normal.
Candidates writing official examinations faced difficulties getting to their accommodation centers early to write the morning papers. Disgruntled denizens advise organizers and authorities in Douala to always communicate properly and take appropriate actions favorable to everyone.
Quand ils organisent la chose, si ça les arrange là-bas, qu'ils essaient de penser un peu à nous en bas.
Despite the inconveniences caused, the cycling tour that proved to be serious was cancelled due to the bad state of the roads.
And because of the poor state of roads in Douala, that tour was finally cancelled today. And now in news out of Cameroon, severe flooding in South Africa's Eastern Cape province has claimed the lives of at least 7 persons, with fears that the death toll could rise. This follows a strong wind or winter storm that has impacted the country that was since last weekend, causing severe cold and also snow. And over to Zambia. Zambia is mourning the death of its former president Edgar Lungu, who died on June 5. This is after President Hakainde Hichilema declared a 7-day national period of mourning. A foreign page roundup with Lucille Nguis here.
In South Africa's Eastern Cape province, flooding linked to severe weather has resulted in at least 7 deaths, with concerns that the number may rise. A potent winter storm has swept across the nation since the weekend, bringing extreme cold, snowfall, and flooding in various regions. The Eastern Cape is the most affected area, with the South African Weather Service warning of a significant flooding risk that has led to road closures and hazardous travel. The severe weather has also resulted in 5 more deaths due to traffic. Disaster response teams are on the ground in the hardest hit locations, but the storms has also left nearly 500,000 homes without electricity. While in Zambia, in honor of late former President Edgar Lungu, who died in South Africa on Thursday, June 5, 2025, President Hakainde Hichilema has declared a 7-day national mourning period. This period began on Sunday, June 8, and will end on Saturday, June 14, 2025. The Secretary to the Cabinet, Patrick Kangwa, confirmed during a press briefing that the Zambian government will grant Lungu a state funeral in line with the national protocol and in recognition of his role as the 6th president of Zambia. The body of the late president arrived in Zambia on June 11, 2025. In sports, on Tuesday, Senegal made history by becoming the first African team to defeat England in 22 encounters, winning 3-1 in a friendly match at the City Ground Stadium in England. The goals from Senegal came from Ismaila Sarr, Habib Diarra and Sheikh Sabali. With this victory, Senegal has now gone 24 games without a loss since January 2024 when they were eliminated by Cote d'Ivoire in the AFCON, while England's defeat is the first under new manager Thomas Tuchel.
And that does it for the first part of the news. Let's move on to Talking Point. Our guest tonight is Professor Mark Anthony Akumbom. Thank you, Prof, for accepting to be our guest. Now, the presidential election in Cameroon is built for October, following the electoral calendar and registration on the electoral registers. And whenever the President of the Republic convenes the Electoral College, you have been actively sensitizing Cameroonians, especially the youths, to register on the electoral list. Can you explain to them, and the youths to be more precise, how crucial or critical the coming days can be for them?
Thank you very much for your question, Annabila. It is indeed a pleasure to be here again this evening. You see, from your question, I will tell you how sensitive, and to young Cameroonians, how sensitive this period is. I remember that I have been, through my social media handles, announcing to Cameroonians that the Electoral College might be convened in June, which is supposed to be 90 days before the election takes place. If we have to follow the time period, June is the period for the electors to be, for the convening of the electors. And I think we are waiting for the President of the Republic to, through a decree, to actually convene electors according to the Electoral Code, particularly Section 86 of the Electoral Code, actually tells us that the electors shall be convened by decree of the President of the Republic. And that should be not less than 90 days shall elapse between the date of the publication of the convening decree and the day of election. So we are actually expecting that. And I think that any young Cameroonian who have not registered, this period is very critical. I think before the President actually convenes the Electoral College, it is important that you rush to any electoral office, register. It is important that you put your name on that electoral register. It is important. If you do not know how important it is, I want you to know that your vote counts a lot. What happens in this nation in October will be determined by your vote. And if you think it is not important because you have been deceived to believe that your vote does not count, that's a mistake you have been making. So please, take it serious. Rush now to any election office, wheresoever you are, and register. If you do not know, you can contact me if possible to seek information about that, and I'm going to actually help you to get to register. You need to register. We all need to register. Cameroonians massively need to register because the future of this nation depends on that vote that you'll be casting in October, and you don't need to clown about this issue. So please, take it serious. Thank you.
Register, and a reminder is necessary, Prof. Now, last year, when registration was launched, most Cameroonians were hesitant to go and register in December when there were doubts if the registers will be reopened in January this year. We saw young people fighting and even breaking barriers just to get themselves registered at the last minute. But now, why this attitude of waiting for the last days, and how can this be avoided this time around, Professor Akumbo?
Thank you again, Nabila. It is indeed heartbreaking to realize that many Cameroonians think might be there is a lot of time until when it is at the end of the period before they start acting. Many of them, I remember last August 2024, the way during the last 2 days of towards the closure of the register, a lot of Cameroonians were rushing from one area to go and register, and it is unfortunate that they wait until the last period of time, the last days. Might be because some think that there is a lot of time, might be because some are so busy with other things that they do not see the importance of going to register, might be because some of them were actually convinced during the last period or last days to do so. That can be explained also by the fact that in December, by January, I beg your pardon, when the electoral register was open, many Cameroonians rushed to actually register. But that is not enough. We were having a dream of actually registering over 10 million Cameroonians and above this year. I don't know if that has been attained because till now, Elecam has not given us updates on how many persons have registered. It is important. If you are a Cameroonian listening to me, it is time for you to rush. As we are talking right now, the Electoral College might be called today. The president might come up with that decree today, tomorrow, or any of these days. So you don't have time. You don't have time. You need to rush. Do it now while it's time. Stop waiting for the last minute. You have already wasted a lot of time without doing it. I think it is time for you to do it now. Rush and register if possible, so that you are you can have your voice count. Your voice needs to count. Your vote is your voice if it's not know it. It is time. Don't tell me that story, that bullshit that people say that your vote does not count because maybe they already know who's going to be the president. That's a lie. It's a big lie. That's the deception that has been used for many years to stop a lot of Cameroonians from rushing to vote, from going to vote. I can defend this by telling you that if you go from 1992, which was the first multi-party election that took place in Cameroon, till 2020, when the last municipal elections took place, you realize that Cameroonians had never gone to the polls more than 4 million. Cameroonians have never gone to the polls more than 4 million. So you should consider that. Let's even consider in 1990 that we had just 11 million Cameroonians. In 1990, we had just 11 million, about 4.something million went to the polls. That tells you Cameroonians do not go to vote. The same thing goes up to 2018. 2018, 3.something million people went to the polls out of about 30 million people. What do you think is happening? That should make you understand that a lot of us do not take things serious in this nation. Voters' apathy is not because maybe our votes have been rigged. Voters' apathy is as a result of misinformation, and let us change that right now. Let's change it.
You have been fighting a patriotic battle, a noble one at that, calling on Cameroonians to perform their civic responsibility of not only registering but also vote and defend their vote when the time comes. We would have loved to know your motivation factors so far, but we will surely be talking with you on that in subsequent news editions. Thank you again, Prof, for accepting to be our guest and for calling on Cameroonians relentlessly to go and register on electoral registers. And viewers, that was what we put together for you on this edition of the news. Thank you so much for always being with us. Our programs continue this evening, Equinoxe Soir, in about 30 minutes with Saja Leng, and the news in the French language comes up at 8 p.m. with Julian Bedbisai. Stay with us on Equinoxe Television, and we will be together again tomorrow, same time, God willing. For now, bye-bye from us.